Throughout history, the concept of expanding the United States by adding new states has sparked intrigue and debate. From the Philippines after World War II to recent discussions involving Greenland and Canada, these ideas have captured the imagination of politicians, historians, and citizens alike. But what are the realities behind these proposals? And what could they mean for the future? The Philippines holds a unique place in this story. Once an American colony after the Spanish-American War, the Philippines was administered under U.S. governance for nearly half a century. During this time, the idea of the Philippines becoming a U.S. state was seriously considered by certain groups, including the Federalista Party. They believed statehood could bring economic growth and security. However, the majority of Filipinos rejected this notion, prioritizing sovereignty and independence. By the mid-20th century, the push for independence culminated in the Tydings-McDuffie Act of 1934, which promised full autonomy after a decade. When independence finally came in 1946, some wondered if the Philippines' future might have been different as part of the United States. If statehood had happened, the Philippines today would be the most populous U.S. state, with over 113 million residents. It would send dozens of representatives to Congress, eclipsing the influence of states like California. But the cultural and economic challenges of integration, not to mention the vast geographical distance, will have posed significant hurdles. Fast forward to modern times, and the story of expansionism has taken new forms. During Donald Trump's presidency, he famously proposed buying Greenland, a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. Trump justified the idea with economic and strategic arguments, pointing to Greenland's vast natural resources and its critical location in the Arctic. The Danish government, however, dismissed the idea as absurd, emphasizing Greenland's autonomy and its rejection of foreign ownership. This wasn't the first time Greenland had been eyed by the United States. In 1946, the U.S. offered $100 million in gold to purchase Greenland, but Denmark refused. Today, Greenland's potential integration into the United States remains unlikely, but the region's strategic value ensures it stays on the radar of global powers. Canada, another player in this narrative, has also been linked to statehood discussions, albeit more hypothetically. While Donald Trump has joked about closer ties with Canada, the idea of annexation has no formal basis. Canada's cultural and political identity, firmly rooted in its independence, makes such a proposal impractical. Yet, some point to the deep economic ties and shared history as evidence of how closely intertwined the two nations already are. But what if these territories, the Philippines, Greenland, or Canada, had become part of the United States? The economic, cultural, and geopolitical effects would be profound. Economically, statehood would mean integration into the vast U.S. market. For the Philippines, this could translate into increased federal investment in infrastructure, healthcare, and education. Filipino businesses might gain greater access to American markets, fostering innovation and development. On the other hand, challenges would be significant. Economic disparities between these regions and existing U.S. states could create tensions. For instance, the cost of aligning the Philippines' wages and social services with U.S. standards might outweigh the benefits in the short term. Similarly, Canada and Greenland, with their distinct cultures and governance systems, might struggle with the loss of autonomy. From a geopolitical perspective, the stakes are even higher. Adding Greenland as a state would grant the U.S. greater influence in the Arctic, a region of growing importance due to climate change and untapped resources. However, such a move could escalate tensions with Denmark and other Arctic nations. Similarly, integrating the Philippines would enhance the U.S. presence in the Asia-Pacific, countering China's growing influence in the region. But this could also provoke regional instability and complicate relations with neighboring countries. Technology, too, plays a critical role in how these scenarios could unfold. If the Philippines were to become a state today, advancements in digital infrastructure and telecommunications could bridge the gap between its islands and the mainland United States. Education, business, and cultural exchange could thrive in ways unimaginable in the early 20th century. The integration of digital economies might ease some of the logistical challenges of statehood, but it wouldn't erase them entirely. The cultural implications of such integration are perhaps the most nuanced. Statehood could bring opportunities for cultural exchange, allowing Filipino traditions to enrich the broader American identity. However, there is also a risk of cultural erosion. The balance between preserving unique identities and adapting to a shared national framework would require careful navigation. Throughout these discussions, one constant emerges: the deep desire of nations and regions to maintain their sovereignty and identity. Whether it's Greenland asserting its autonomy, Canada reinforcing its independence, or the Philippines carving its path as a sovereign nation, the idea of statehood must be weighed against the values of self-determination and cultural preservation. As we explore these historical and hypothetical scenarios, it's clear that statehood isn't just a matter of economics or geopolitics. It's a question of identity, autonomy, and the power of nations to chart their destiny. While the notion of new states joining the United States may captivate our imagination, the realities are far more complex, shaped by history, culture, and the unyielding spirit of independence. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this valuable, please show your appreciation by giving a thumbs up and subscribing to OHA News Asia, your trusted source for knowledge always at your fingertips.